people when someone said just got here? You waiting for someone to come fetch you, I imagine. Look at you poor things. You got no idea where you is. I see one of you with your mouth hanging open. You wait till I tell you what's happening here. Your mouth ain't ever gonna close. Oh, I'm Susan Hall, servant woman to Governor Yardley. Sir George Yardley, he's a knight. I tell you, what's happening here now is the likes what never happened in Virginia before. And I'm no gossip, mind you, but you're going to hear about this, and you may as well hear about it sooner than not. The governor's got a grand jury hearing a case on witchcraft. They's investigating Goodwife Joan Wright. And she lives right here. Well, not right here. She lives right there across the river. And I'm no gossip, mind you, but everybody's talking about it. You just can't believe the things what's been said. There's, let's see. It's hard to say where to begin. Lieutenant Giles Allington, he tells of a Sergeant Booth, what says he was crossed by a woman. And for a year since, he's had plenty of game to shoot at, but could kill none of it. But he weren't certain who the woman were. But there's lots more. Lieutenant Allington, his wife were great with child. She tells him to go fetch a midwife because the time has come. Lieutenant Allington, he comes home with Goodwife Joan Wright. When Mrs. Allington sees that Goodwife Wright is left-handed, she says she would have none of it that Lieutenant Allington were to go fetch another midwife. So he comes back with Mrs. Graves, who Mrs. Allington wanted anyway. And then he tells Goodwife Joan Wright she won't wanted. And she goes away greatly discontented. Now that's, bless me, don't you wonder? That's when things become odd. The babe were born fine. But then when it started to, well, Mrs. Allington, she become greatly sore. And continued so for a month or 5 weeks before she recovered from that. Lieutenant Allington, he fell ill at the same time for a period of 3 weeks. But the poor babe, mind you, the babe were born fine, but then took sick. Was sick for 2 months. Then it recovered for a month. And then it took to having terrible pains, what continued for 5 weeks until the babe departed. Bless me. Oh, you know what's happening here. You come back here, you bird. Look. There's trouble about it. They don't know it, and you do, and you're still wandering off. Now, that's not all. That's not all I got to tell you. You stay right here, you bird. And then, Oh yeah, do the hop. Then, I tell you, there was Rebecca Gray. She did testify that not just her, but a Mr. Felgate, Thomas Harris, there was some other, well, I can't remember, there was 4 of them. What Joan Wright had told was all to bury their spouse within a month. And it all come to be. But there's more. Mistress Perry, her servant girl, Joan Wright goes up to that girl and says to her that she knows she's the one what took the wood from the fort. And if that girl don't put the wood back in the fort, Joan Wright is going to make her dance stark naked and stand in front of a tree. Well, no surprise, the wood were back in the fort the next morning. But there's more. Dorothy Bethlehem says she heard that Joan Wright were a witch in Kicquetan before she moved over there. And then Mrs. Perry, she says she heard that Joan Wright were a witch when she were in England before she come to Virginia. Was it Hull? I think she said it was Hull. No, don't. Yes, it was Hull, England. But anyway, the worst of it now is people is saying in Kicquetan, Goodwife Joan Wright has took to witching chickens. Poor innocent little chickens. I've been out looking for these things. Look, we got to get home. You don't have the sense to be afeard, and I do.